Yes, are you there?
Yes, I am trying to share my screen, but I don't see.
If you just look down there or down where there are reactions and stuff, there is a share button. You just click it. Um, Down there where there's share, you'll be able to see. I know you're used to Teams. Zoom, Zoom is a little bit different from Teams.
Yes.
But if you look down there, there is share.
Yes, I can see that. I can see that prompt, but when I go
Yes,
to
yes.
my Windows, my open Windows, I actually cannot see.
Yeah, you'll have to look at where your window is, or you close Sam, and then when you click it, and then you click share again, it will be able to come.
Okay, let me try. Microsoft Edge. Okay, sure.
Alternatively, oh, it has come, it has come.
Okay.
But yes, you have. Is this you're sharing Copilot?
Which one?
The screen is showing the Copilot. I guess it's not the PPT. I think you have to open the PPT and then you do the same way you've shared that, and then you click on the screen which has the presentation. Yes, I think it's now showing.
Okay, I think now we can see my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we are going to go through the entire process of minute taking, how we can do it, how we can extract action reports, and how we can do the follow-up, the follow-throughs after the meeting, and then also look at how we can come up with resolutions after that. We shall look at some examples or templates that could guide us. So I need us, as we start our meeting, we are going to have an overriding guide that whatever we do, it's biblical that whatever we do should be done in order and diligently. So this is one of the ways in which we can serve as youths in church and in any other organizations that we work with or work for. and in our daily lives as we serve the people around us. So we begin with so at slide 3, I need us to look at minute taking as a practical ministry skill. It's not merely an administrative role or an administrative task. So in many settings, even in our churches, good minutes are one of the strongest tools for protecting unity, enabling accountability, and anchoring that topical biblical principle of order. So the key message that we can take away as we start is that spiritual commitment and organizational excellence can go together. You don't have to separate the two. That when you're in church, you're acting in a certain way, and when you get to your other workplace or your daily tasks, you have to behave in a different way. You can do this. You can do the two. You can execute the two, carry the two as your values, and they can coexist. So when leaders or any other person who is given a responsibility is tasked to do something or record decisions, you have to do it clearly because it reduces confusion. It prevents repeated arguments about what was agreed, what was not agreed, and it helps the ministry or the organization you work with to follow through consistently, and it improves planning, which also improves your daily execution or tasks that you come up with. So we need to understand that minutes are a shared memory for the team. They protect the leadership. They protect the leadership continuity, and even when roles rotate and a new member joins, they are able to know what happened before, what was pending, and where they can start from to execute or complete the planned initiatives. So we also need to note that minutes are a record of stewardship. When time, money, and people's efforts as well are handled more responsibly, when tasks are documented and tracked. So it brings that accountability and trust amongst the team and even in the leadership. So this skill will help us in both ministry and professional life because accurate records and accountability are valued universally, no matter where you are. So we shall look at, as I had already said, we shall look at samples that shall guide us that we can do our work better. So we have different during meetings we have different stages in which you can prepare for your meetings and in which you can prepare for your minutes so that you have an accurate record. So minute taking looks at it's a process of different stages. So you have to prepare before the meeting, you have to accurately capture during the meeting, and you have to have a disciplined follow-up after the meeting. So we shall define what minutes are. We shall look at what minutes are and what they are not. We shall look at, because many people actually mistake, they think that it has to be a word for word transcript of what was said in the meeting, and that's not true. So in the church context, we shall have roles like chairperson, we shall have a secretary or the minute taker, we shall have participants. This will help us all see how the whole room contributes to good minutes. So for a secretary to produce good minutes, it's literally a shared responsibility for the entire room, everyone in the meeting, from the chairperson, the person who is just in attendance, the member of the meeting, everyone takes a part in having accurate minutes. So I said minute taking is a process and it has different stages. So we have the first stage as preparation before your meeting. So the preparation stage, you have to work here. You're working with things like the agenda. You're working with a template. You're confirming attendance. Which people you expect to attend in the meeting, which people are sending in their apologies, and you're also preparing your action tracker template, I should say, because also for efficiency, I know someone said they would like to produce minutes in the shortest time possible. Then you would need to work with a template. You don't have to begin from zero all the time. So when you've built your template and I am going to begin with confirmation of the agenda, prayer, I'm going to this, you can always have your template and you're just filling in gaps for that particular meeting. So during the meeting, you have to learn or put yourself in a position to continuously learn during the meeting, to have what we could refer to as the listen, clarify, and record approach. So you have to listen to decisions that are being taken, ask for clarification where something is not clear politely. Do that politely. You can ask the chairperson to please clarify on what the team has decided, and then you record the outcome clearly and in a neutral way and using professional language, definitely. So this entire thing hinges on values that most of us carry, and which are also values of the church: order, integrity, being faithful in your work, having teamwork, so that the goal is not perfectionism at the first attempt, but continuous improvement. We should always be open to learn, open to change, just to get better at what we are doing, because the only way we can serve better is by being open to improve ourselves. That's the way we can serve better each and every other day. So each meeting becomes easier when you're open to learn, open to improvement, continuously improving your skill, where you're told, oh, we did not say this should be this. Be open to learn. Just because you are secretary does not mean you actually, what you captured is what was true. Like I said earlier, it is a shared memory. Minutes should be a shared memory. So if one, two members are telling you this is not what was said, you could have misheard. So make sure that your minutes are a shared memory and you're open to learn and improve every other time. So add when you eventually develop your template, and 4 meetings, by the sixth meeting, eighth meeting, you will actually be better from where you were at the first 2, 3 meetings. So minutes should be produced in a manner that an absent member of the meeting or an absent personnel in the meeting, any person who was not in that meeting, can read them and know what was decided in that meeting and what they have to do if they were allocated a task to do in that meeting. So they should be simple, clear, for everyone to understand that this is what transpired in the meeting and this is where we should be, or this is what is expected of me by this date, arising from that meeting. So we are going to look at what the minutes are, what they are not, or why minutes matter in our organizations, in church, and any other place that we work from, or any other place that we're engaged or we have responsibilities. So so we have like I already said, meeting minutes should be a shared memory. That is what they should be, a shared memory of all the people that were in the meeting. It's not a word for word transcription of what was said. So and so said this, so and so said this. We shall see that when you're recording minutes, you'll not say Abias stated that, this, and that. This one stated that, Eric stated that, this, and that. It should be neutral because when you're in a meeting, you're appointed to be in that room to take decisions for a purpose. So it should be a shared responsibility. So in your recording, it should be something like the members stated that, the members decided that. So it should be a shared responsibility. So it should be neutral when you're drafting. So we have accountability as one of the principles. The minutes document what the group agreed and who is responsible for the delivery. So in things like ministry, which I believe that is what you take part in, and definitely any other organizations you work with, tasks can be forgotten, especially with the youth dealing with very many things. So tasks can be forgotten very easily when you're very busy dealing with school, you're dealing with family, you have church activities. So when you have a written record, it helps maintain commitment and fairness and openness. So it helps you remember what was said, what you should be doing, and also reminds you of the deadlines in within which to close out your tasks. So we have the other principle is continuity. So continuity uh, minutes preserve institutional memory. So leadership in church often rotates. One person will not be in the same position for 5, 10 years. So it often rotates and uh, and also teams change. So you might be in youth ministry today, the other day you're put in the maybe to lead the children. So teams change as members relocate, they change responsibility, transition into different roles. So minutes have to should preserve institutional memory so that programs do not restart from zero every time that leadership changes. So the other thing is growth. So the other thing is growth. Consistent minute taking, which is accurate, will support better planning. It will support budgeting. It will support reporting because you know what was decided, where you fell short. So next time you'll do better with that. So it helps growth. So when for example when the church wants to track important maybe impact on outreach programs, maybe fundraising, maybe training events, minutes will become a part of the evidence of the evidence trail that demonstrates intentional planning and responsible stewardship. So it's important to have accurate minutes if you are to to grow your ministry organization, even yourself. If you hold yourself accountable, then you know that yesterday I did this and it led me into this. So if yesterday I fell short, today I should probably take a different route. Then we have fostering we have fostering unity and professionalism. So when there are disagreements, a neutral record will help the group focus on what was resolved instead of focusing on what the arguments were during the meeting. So that will help the people involved so that you know what was resolved. If someone is saying They said we should maybe plan for 50 million. Someone else says, no, they told us to plan for 30. Then you will have, when you have an accurate minute that was signed off, the final minutes that were signed off, you'll go back to your files, you'll go back to your records and check what was actually agreed on. And that is what you'll focus on, and that will save the time of the team, and you focus the time in actually executing instead of the arguments. So I encourage us to look at minutes as a tool that serves members, as a tool that serves members, because it helps people who are not around to also catch up. It informs the elders and the leadership when they need to, and it supports transparency. So professionalism is also a very key. It's also a very key value that young people serving in any organization in church, when we develop transferable skills or leadership skills, it helps us pass down to the people that we work with, the people that are on our teams, and that creates continuity. So if you do everything professionally, that will bring about trust, that will bring about uh, integrity. You'll be trusted with even bigger responsibilities and roles, and that can help your personal life, your career, even the people you work with or serve with. So we are going to look at roles during the preparation and during the meeting. So as I said at the beginning, we have the chairperson, we have the secretary or the minute taker, we have the members who are taking part in the meeting. So what are the roles of the chairperson? The chairperson is meant to guide the agenda, to ensure orderly discussion, and uh, and they're supposed to state decisions clearly. So the chairperson should be able to summarize decisions loudly, so that the secretary can actually capture appropriate decisions and resolutions taken during the meeting. Something like, maybe after everyone has discussed, after the members have given in their input in a particular discussion, at the end of the discussion, the chairperson should be able to say, so we agreed that, and summarize what has been agreed on that agenda item, so that the secretary captures what has been agreed appropriately and accurately before moving on to the next agenda item. This will help the secretary capture it will help the secretary capture accurate resolutions and reduce disputes later amongst the team members. So what is the secretary's role during the meeting? So the secretary is responsible for recording attendance, preparing a template, like I earlier said, which helps the secretary actually take the minutes in a shorter time. So they are responsible for capturing the decisions accurately, capturing the attendance and action papers or action reports accurately, and then also draft the minutes promptly in a shorter time, like one of us talked about, and circulate the final draft for review amongst the members before it can finally be handed in or submitted for signature. So after that, the final draft has been circulated, the members have agreed, seconded the draft, then it should be printed off, or if you have an online signature platform, then signed off and filed for your record purposes. So the minute taker or the secretary should really focus on the outcomes, the decisions, the responsible parties, and the deadlines instead of trying to record every other comment that comes up during a discussion. So speaking clear during the meeting, the participants or the members, their responsibility or their role during the meeting is to speak clearly, propose motions when they are needed, and accept assigned roles and responsibilities during the meeting. So the members also help by stating their names. If you have maybe visitors or people attending but they are not usually a part of you, you need to take their name records accurately. So they are responsible for stating out their names there in meetings clearly so that the secretary has an accurate record to capture. So the chairperson has to clarify for meeting efficiency, the chairperson drives the structure, the secretary captures the outcomes, and the members contribute meaningfully without any chaos or arguments or any arguments among the members, but you contribute meaningfully to the discussion. So the other thing maybe I should highlight is that to have an accurate record, it is okay to take up a culture of asking for confirmation if you are responsible for taking the minutes, so that if you've not heard something clearly or it's just not clear to you, then ask for confirmation so that you capture the appropriate or the accurate decision that has been taken by the members from the chairperson. So the next slide, we are going to look at preparation steps that make minutes easy. So I talked about the secretary working with an agenda, a mini template, attendance list, and then coordination. So the secretary should obtain the agenda very early and also review the previous minutes and identify which items are likely to produce decisions or action points, because sometimes you will find that your previous minutes some deferred some items to the next meeting. So that will help you know which items were deferred to the next meeting, and that will be part of your agenda and that will stay. So then you prepare your minute template. This will always help you if you use your previous minute if you use your previous minutes to prepare your minute template. So you have the standard things definitely in line with your agenda, because your minutes follow your agenda. So that during the meeting you're just recording what is transpiring on each every other agenda item. So you should also prepare an attendance list, because for your to have accurate minutes on your minutes, you will have an attendance part on your minutes, but that should correspond to your attendance register or your attendance book. So for every other meeting, you should have an attendance register, so that at any time, at any point in time, if someone needs to know who was in this meeting, your minutes should speak to your register. You shouldn't have someone in your minutes who is not in your attendance register. So the two should be speaking to each other. So during the meeting, I had earlier said, excuse me, I had earlier said it's good to use the listen, clarify, and record method as a secretary, so that you focus on the outcomes, you hear the decisions clearly, and know what has been approved, who has been assigned what has been rejected, what has been deferred, so that it is very clear to you on what to record. And in listening, it also includes spotting when a decision is moving towards a clear conclusion, so that the secretary is ready to capture it, or you need to clarify something in because decisions can be implied sometimes but not stated clearly. So the secretary should always feel authorized to ask for confirmation respectfully. You can take an example, maybe, uh, Chair, may we confirm what the team agreed and the deadline? So that it is respectful, but you're trying to get a clear decision to record, so that your minutes are accurate and represent what the members have discussed in that meeting. Clarification will protect the team from misunderstandings and strengthen accountability. Like I said, after the meeting, it should, for anyone who reads the record of the meeting, should be able to know that this is what transpired. I was assigned this task. This is what they differ. Even when they are not in the meeting, they can actually understand what happened in that meeting. And especially for tasks that involve money, schedules, external communication. Here, mistakes may have consequences. It is viewed, or it is something that is very sensitive. It could cause a very huge impact on the organization, on the church. So such high risky areas should be able to clarify and know exactly what has been decided. Uh, so the minute taker, or the secretary, has to record in neutral language, like I had earlier said, and a consistent action has to be a consistent action has to be formulated. Of course, after you've recorded the discussion, you have recommendations or actions, and your actions should speak to what has been agreed to be done, who is supposed to do that, and by what time, or that the deadline for which that person should have executed that role. And thereafter, you should be able to track and know, did they do it, did they not do it, have they taken steps to do it, Is there something that is hindering them to fully execute it? That will be after some of the tasks that you'll do after the meeting. So an encouraged structure is that you have the agenda item, you summarize the key contents of that agenda item or what has been said on that agenda item, then record the resolution or the decision that has been taken, the action that has arisen from that agenda item, and then record the resolution, if any. If there is a resolution that needs to be recorded, you should also record it in that format. So you have the agenda item as your subheading or your minute number, then you have the discussion on that agenda item briefly in a neutral language, and then you have the recommendation or the actions that have been agreed, uh, which actions should carry the responsible person, what has been agreed, the responsible person, deadline within which to execute. And then you have the resolution. So if it is taken as a if minute taking is taken as a shared responsibility, then it will be easier, because after the discussion, you're not the chair is summarizing what has been agreed. The secretary records exactly what has been agreed because the chair has clearly summarized the decisions that have been taken. So that means your record is going to be accurate and there will be no other arguments after the meeting, and it will guide any other person that is put in that role, any other person that comes after you, or even the teams themselves as you execute what has come out of that meeting. So cooperation is very key when doing that. So next, we are going to look at what to capture, what to record, and how to record that. So here, as I earlier said, when you're starting your meeting, you have your title of your title of the minutes, and then you have that title has definitely the meeting name, the date, the start time, the venue, and the organizing unit. And then you have your attendance right there and your roles in that meeting. Then you have to also record people who are, or members who are absent but have sent in their apologies. Please record that. And then also you will have visitors maybe who are just in attendance but are not members of that particular meeting. So it is important to record that very clearly so that any person who is referring to your minutes at any time in future, they are able to know who took part in the meeting, what was their role, who was responsible for what, which people were attending the meeting but were not members. So they are able to get everything clearly from your record. And as I had earlier said, your attendance should speak to your attendance record on the minutes should speak to your attendance register. Make sure that in every other meeting you have an attendance register where people are going to sign, because you might put someone's name in that minute, and if they never signed anywhere, or they didn't if they never signed the attendance register, tomorrow you'll come, maybe a decision was taken, they need to refer to the people who were in the meeting, they'll come to me and I'll tell you, where did I sign? I was not in that meeting. especially when things are controversial, things that involve money, things that involve these things that are usually controversial. It has to be very clear that your minutes correlate with your attendance register, which attendance register is signed by every other person attending that meeting. So it can speak for you when tomorrow a minute is looked at or referred to and it has someone's name. So even if someone says I was not in that meeting, the attendance register will be pulled out and they will not deny their signature on that attendance register because it's not something you can forge. So the body of your minutes should follow your agenda items, like I earlier said. So the body of your minutes should follow your agenda item by item in order. The way your agenda appears, number one, number two, number three, should be the same way in which your minutes are recorded so that they are coherent with your agenda items. And if an agenda item is deferred, still record that agenda item in your minutes and note that this agenda item was deferred to be discussed at the next committee meeting or at the next church meeting, whichever you're dealing with. So you have for each item, you capture concisely a summary of the key points, only to the extent needed to understand the decision, and then record the final resolution. If the decision is postponed, record it. Like I said, if the decision has been postponed, record it. If it has been deferred, still record that. Note that the discussion or that the discussion on this agenda item was deferred for the next meeting. And then record the final resolution. And then the most we can note that the most critical content in the action report. Each action should specify what will be done, who will do it, by what time or by when, and where appropriately you specify a follow-up method. Maybe, for example, report back at the next meeting or share an update with the youth maybe committee. So you include, if that is what is required, include it in your action report. So basically, record adjournment time has to be input as well. Record adjournment time or prayer or a closing prayer, and include a confirmation section for the signatories down there as the last thing on your item on your minutes. As the last thing in your minutes, you will record the meeting was closed with a prayer, a word of prayer led by so and so officially at this time. So you record that, and then you have the signature part, confirmed, respectfully submitted by this, confirmed and approved by, and then the person signs, who is or is the chairperson to sign the minutes, the chairperson and the secretary to sign the minutes. So next we shall look at the writing style. And this is, I believe we've been talking about this throughout our discussion since we started. The writing style has to be neutral, and your minutes should be recorded in reported speech. So the minutes should be recorded in reported speech and in a neutral tone. So instead of recording something like I think, or he argued loudly, it should state that the chairperson noted that the members discussed, the treasurer reported. This kind of writing maintains objectivity, and it prevents the record from becoming emotionally charged. It also prevents the record from being personalized to individuals, yet it is, or it should be, a shared responsibility. When you're appointed to be in that meeting, you're a member of that meeting, it should be a shared responsibility of all the members in that meeting. It should not be personalized. And that writing style also, it also teaches us that minutes should avoid blame. They should avoid blame and not be judgmental. It should not be a judgment on someone just because they passed on their view on a certain discussion. They said what they thought about a certain discussion. They contributed to a certain point, maybe which could have been judged, which could have been controversial, and maybe other members were not comfortable mentioning whatever had to be mentioned. So one brave member comes up and makes a recommendation, or says what should be said that other members have not said. It should not be pinned on them or judge them for coming out to speak what should have been said. So that is why you should not personalize the minutes, but rather make it neutral, a shared responsibility. So record something like the members stated that, the members discussed that. So don't put people's names in the minutes. And then additionally, you're not also trying to criticize. In your minute taking, you're not trying to criticize, but to document the decision. So you have to use language that, like, it was agreed that, the members resolved that, the committee approved, the matter was deferred pending, the item was referred to, so that it is not criticizing an individual or pinpointing someone for having contributed to a particular discussion. Because if you do that, then the next time you'll find that the most vocal members in your meeting, and who should actually help in that meeting, or who should actually help the growth of the organization or the committee or whichever it is, will not want to speak out because the minutes have been used as a weapon against them. And that will be the downside, because then you'll not get the you'll not get the objective discussions that you need to get for growth. Or yeah, you'll not get the objective discussions you need to get for growth, or to enhance the ministry, to enhance the organization that you are in. Yes. So then the other key point is that when you're taking your actions, or your action action reports, when you're trying to put down your action reports, uh, it should be in a simple and standardized pattern. It should be in a simple and standardized pattern of action, responsible personnel, deadline, and then follow-up method, like we earlier said, because this will ensure that the important outputs of the meeting or tasks are not buried inside the paragraphs that you've been, when you write too much, every other thing that someone is saying, it will be so much, it will be a mouthful to go through for someone to eventually know what was decided, or what their action point is, or what they are supposed to do after the meeting. Then also, do not write things like, the team will try to organize. the maybe an outreach visit. Yeah, write something that is actionable, something that is actionable and authoritative, something like an outreach visitation, an outreach visitation plan to be drafted by Abias, then put a deadline of maybe 5th May 2026. That will be direct, authoritative, and know that now when I read the minutes and the action report, I will know that I am supposed to do that. And I have a deadline to do that. So I will right away get to executing what I am supposed to do and report accordingly. And then the other thing that I would like to encourage us is to use proper naming while writing the minutes. So you record the full names at the first time, and then you record the full name at the first time, then the role, so the responsibility is clear. Then also, and then also look at readability. If I am the one reading this action report or this minute, I may be able to understand it because I am the one drafting it. But if someone else is reading it, will they perceive the same thing as I have perceived in my mind? So that it is easy that every other person can understand what has been written, not just me who has drafted it. So it should not be ambiguous or use a language that only I can understand. It should be simple that another person can read and understand what has been written without first having to call, what did you mean by this? So as we move on, so after you've done that, it's important also to proofread your before you share, you circulate your minutes. Proofread them for any grammatical errors, for any repetitions, for and to ensure that they are consistent. Paragraph 2 is consistent with paragraph 1, that it's a coherent record for easy understanding. Look at the dates, look at the names, look at alignment between the decisions and the action points, because decisions must speak to the action points, or the recommendations that you have taken should speak to the action reports that you consequently circulate for the team's action. They should speak to each other, and also your resolutions should speak to your action points or your recommendations. One, you should not have a resolution which is not anywhere or which is not contextualized anywhere in your body, in your recommendations. Then where did you get it from? So they should be coherent and speaking to each other. Then our next slide is on confidentiality and how to handle sensitive matters. Uh, as when you're in meetings, it is important to have a very high level of confidentiality and know that some things might come up in those meetings that you are in that are very sensitive, but it is your role and responsibility to maintain confidentiality, because by the time you're in that room, taking part of those discussions, making those decisions, you've been trusted to do that. So it is important to maintain that trust, protect that trust that has been uh, placed in you, and respect the fact that you were actually chosen to be in those rooms and take part in those discussions. That means you're valued. So it's hold on to that value and protect it. So you will have things like sensitive things might come up, things like discipline. You might have issues maybe with discipline, personal disputes. You might have things like welfare concerns, financial matters. These are sensitive matters. These are actually private matters. They're not things that you'll need everyone to know. So you will have to you have to be careful with the wording you use in taking such minutes or such records when you're writing your minutes. So you should be able to record discussions and agreed processes without exposing the unnecessary private detail that was discussed on those agenda items. So you have to use the principle of minimum necessary detail. So record something that captures what was discussed, but without the detail, the private detail that not everyone needs to know. Because once you have actually your minutes are, they are public record. So your church, any other person in the church will come and request for the minutes. Even if you're in an organization, a person will come and request for a minute if they believe that a certain agenda or a certain item was discussed in that meeting. They may request for the minutes. But if they request for those minutes, you don't want them to have a certain level of too much detail that may destroy a relationship or someone's or destroy someone's work ethic, or make them believe that they are not supported. So record something that is minimal to capture what has been discussed, but do not give so much detail. Let that detail remain in the meeting, be a point of discussion. The members that were in that meeting will remember that detail, but it is not for everyone to have on the record. So you have to be careful with how you word such private conversations or discussions that need so much privacy. So you only have to capture what is required to understand the decision and a follow-up action. Maybe if I could give an example of what would I give? Okay, maybe an example, instead of recording something like allegation, okay, instead of recording allegations and emotional debate, then the minutes can state something like the master was referred to the pastor and elders for guidance and follow up. If a sensitive issue results into an action, then you record the action clearly, while but you avoid the gossip style narrative of wanting to put every other detail that was said in that private or highly sensitive conversation. You just record what needs to be done and the responsible party. Don't put the detail into that action report. Then also, you have to know that some meetings may agree that certain items are confidential. So if that is agreed, then the record if that is agreed, then you have to record a single resolution. For example, members agreed that the discussion on item and on agenda item B would remain confidential and minutes would be shared only with authorized leaders, or something like that the members agreed that the discussion on item B would be handled by the chairperson and the authorized leaders, something like that, so that you don't divulge information that does not need to go out to the general public or the all the many other people that may access that record. And then you also have to note that keep your you have to keep your minutes in a secure space. If you are having hard copies of your minutes or your records, they have to be stored in a protected file and in a file, and then they should be under lock and key. And if you have a dicto tool, you can store your minutes in a dicto space, and you only share the minutes or the extra you only share the minutes to people who are authorized to actually access those minutes. It should not be something that is shared to the entire team or the entire organization. It has to be a secure space, and access is controlled, that between the chairperson and the secretary. If person X is coming to me and they need a minute or a certain set of minutes, I will first consult my leaders. I'll first consult my leaders. There is a request for for such and such from person X. Should I grant access? If they say yes, then I will ask what do they need to access on those minutes. If it's agenda item B, then I will do an extract. I will not give them the entire set of minutes. Extract only what is needed for their consumption. If the person needs something that was discussed under agenda item B that shows maybe the discussion and the recommendations, the resolution, only extract what is needed. And by extracting, I mean you're going to give them the front page of your minutes, which shows the date, which shows the heading, the date, the minute number, the attendance, the agenda. So you're going to give them the front page, then give them the page that has that particular agenda item, and then the signature page. So that will show that this is actually this is a minute that they can rely on, because it has the minute number, the attendance, and everything else, the agenda down there, and then the agenda item they're interested in, and then the signature page which confirms it is an accurate minute. So they don't have to access every other thing that is in that minute set, because that is how information gets out there. If you give them the entire minute set, they are not interested in the entire minute set. They're interested in one agenda item. So you have to protect the confidentiality of all the other discussions of those agenda items, so they can only benefit from what they need to execute, to do whatever they are supposed to do. Then so we are going to look at templates. We shall come back, we shall look at a detailed template later on, but this is how your minutes and action should look like. So in your minutes you will have everything else, the discussion, the action points, the resolutions. But after you have that, you will have to extract an action report. And then after you've extracted an action report, uh, you will have to have the follow-ups and status. And then additionally, when you have your minutes, you'll also have something to do with the resolution. You might resolve to do something, and that will be a separate extract that you'll have to do from your minutes. We shall look at templates of maybe a template of minutes, and then a template of an action report, and also look at a template for a resolution. So common mistakes and how we can fix them. This is, I believe we have been running through most of these as we are having our earlier discussion. So one of the common mistakes is missing the decisions. So you'll find that as a secretary, I may record a discussion but forget to capture the final outcome or the final decision that has been taken. That will be a mistake. So for you to fix that, you have to listen to the discussion language and quickly ask the chairperson to confirm the conclusion if you've not gotten it. Like I earlier said, not it's not that every decision will be will be said out clearly. Some decisions you will have to take from the discussions that the members are actually having. So if you've not gotten a decision from a certain discussion, be quick to ask the chairperson to clarify and confirm the conclusion of that discussion item before they move on to the next discussion item. And then the other thing is, the other mistake is setting actions without deadlines or uh, or expected timelines within which to close those actions. Now that will make your action vague because it will not be actionable because it is not tracked, it is not measurable. So if you tell me I am supposed to organize a youth conference, I'm supposed to organize a youth conference, but you've not told me by what date. That means it will, yes, I know I am supposed to organize a youth conference, but when am I supposed to organize a youth conference? So that will become vague. So you have to include by a certain date so that I know I have a target to meet and I will be able to execute that in the particular time frame. And then you also have to, the other mistake is bias and personal opinions. When there is bias and personal opinions, when you record this in minutes, especially when the debates are heated, you know the energy is way up there in the room, it's not it does not reflect a professional way to record or take the record of the particular meeting, because then you're getting personal and you'll be becoming judgmental, because in the heated situations you'll end up putting Abias stated that, Abias told Henry not to do this. So it will be, you'll create a hostile environment for members to actually participate in in those meetings at a later stage, because then they will not feel safe to pass out to pass on their points of view on particular discussions. So to fix that, we we earlier said, use a neutral language. Use a neutral language, uh, use reported speech, and focus on the outcome. Don't use people's names, don't use any, just be neutral. Members stated that stated that, but still you will not have to record each and everything that they will have to say. You sieve out and record only what will be important for the decision. And then summarize the discussion. If summarize the discussion might take 30 minutes, 40 minutes, but not all that has been said will be important for your record. Some of them will be by the way, some of the discussions will be for information purposes, some will just be helping a particular point. So not everything that has been said at the time will be important for your record. So try to summarize the discussion and only record what is necessary for the decision. And then when you have your meetings, try to record or have a fair copy of the record of a fair copy of the record in a short period of time after the meeting, because that will increase the accuracy within which the accuracy of your record, because your memory is fresh. Your memory is fresh, you remember everything that transpired, so it will be more accurate, because memory fades as you deal with every other thing that comes by your day. 2, 3, 4 days, a week, 2 weeks, a month, you've forgotten what transpired in a meeting that you held a month ago or 2 months ago. So try to come up with a fair copy of the record in a short period of time, so that if you're referring to it later, you're proofreading and trying to see where you have grammar issues, where you have repetition, but you're not developing it from the onset at that time when time has gone. uh yes, I think. And then also maybe another tip that we could take away is when we have, if we are, for example, maybe if it's a committee of youth leaders or something like that, I'm just using it as an example. If it's a committee of youth leaders and you have your meetings consistently, maybe every other 2 weeks, it's encouraged to share to keep your minutes trackers in a shared folder or a shared space, so that in a shared folder or a printed file that is accessible for those particular members, so that any changes don't break the continuity. So that's encouraged. And also always have a growth mindset, because mistakes are normal. We all make mistakes at any point. Even if you've done something for 10 years, 20 years, mistakes are normal. Like I said, the goal is not always to be perfect, but to continuously improve, be consistent in improvement, such that if I give you something you have written today, it will not be the same thing I'll give you 2 years from now. I'll be better if I am always open to learning, open to improvement, open to criticism. Take it positively and just work on it. It will help you in your personal life and your personal life, your career, the people you serve with. You will have a difference from the other people that think I am always right. No, you're not always right. So always be open to improvement, open to growth. Keep your mindset open. So we can we can we can note that good minutes are not always about the perfect writing, but about clarity, accountability, and consistent follow through that will strengthen your work, your organization, your ministry outcomes, and unity. So we look at the after the meeting, the drafting, reviewing, approving, and then filing. So after your meeting, like I said, come up with your draft of fair copy in a short period of time, 72 hours maybe, so that your memory is fresh and you ensure that your agenda structure and your minute structure are coherent. Your memory is very fresh and you remember everything that transpired in that meeting, because as time goes by and you engage in every other activity or execute every other responsibility expected of you, you're going to forget. The mind fades, so memory fades. So you're going to forget certain important parts of a discussion that was held in the meeting. So try to come up with a fair copy in the shortest time possible, so that at any other time that you are looking at it, you're really just editing, grammatical errors, repetitions, things like that, but not trying to come up with a first draft from zero. And then also, if then also it's encouraged that if you're the one responsible for taking the minutes, take notes during the meeting. Don't just sit and listen to the discussion because maybe you feel it is overwhelming. Discussions are heated up. You have other, maybe you're coordinating between taking the minutes. You're the one responsible for organizing the well-being of the team members. Maybe lunch. You're following through very many other things, but ensure that you take some notes and check and clear points where necessary, and then you ensure that that your structure follows the agenda, and then verify accuracy. Double check the names, the dates, the roles, the key decisions. If there was a financial commitment or schedule or a schedule change, confirm figures, timelines with the chairperson and the responsible leader in that meeting, and then you circulate for review after you've had your final draft of the minutes. Circulate for review to the members of the meeting. Circulate the final draft minutes for review, and then it's always important before you circulate to the entire team or all the members of the meeting. First circulate to the chairperson of that meeting so that they can have the first view of the final draft. They make their comments or corrections where they need you to enhance or delete. Let them make their comments. Revise the draft. Revise the draft according to the chairperson's comments, inputs, and then after that you can circulate to the entire team or all the members for their review. And after that is done, then you can print off the final copy for signature, and then you can have your record that will confirm that it's an accurate and true record of what transpired in the meeting if everyone else has confirmed. Then you can secure your minutes in a safe space. So we move on to the next, which is going to let's look at an example of what our action. This could be our action, sort of an action tracker. So you have the item, the responsible person, the deadline, and then your color code. I think this is better explained in the next slide here. So you will have, this is what your action report should look like. So this action report should follow or should be consistent with your minutes. You should not have anything in your action report that is not recorded in your minutes. And everything that appears in your action report should appear in your minutes. So you will have your minute number, which will be corresponding to your minutes, such that if someone reads action report number 1, action item number 1, minute 3, youth leaders should send out an invite for the guest preacher. The responsible party, the youth leader. The deadline, 25th April 2026. The flag, the status. This shows, you can choose what colors you use to capture the status. Usually you could use red. When you've just drafted your action points, it's maybe red because it has not yet been done, and maybe you can use amber for in progress, and then green for completed. So you have your you have your status, and then this part that says status should be the comments that these responsible people give you. So if I check in on the 25th or the 24th or the 20, maybe our next meeting is on 27th. On 27th, if our next meeting was on the 27th of April or maybe 5th, 7th of May, if I check and we're preparing for that meeting, if I check in with a youth leader on the 5th of May, and I am asking them for an update, they should be able to tell me they sent out the meeting invites to the guest preachers, and that is what I capture here. The meeting invite was sent out to the guest preacher on the maybe 30th of April 2026. Everything that is needed is set for the conference now. That will be our status update in this column that you see that is not updated. So you make sure that you capture everything that was an actionable item in your minutes under your action report. Your minute column should correspond with the minute number in your minutes. If I check minute 3, I should be able to find a recommendation that the youth leader should send out an invite to the guest preachers. So it should correspond, it should be aligned. The next is a sample of the resolution. So the resolution is extracted from the, we extract the resolution from the minutes as well. So if I check the minutes, I should be able to find under a particular item where uh, now this was youth leader should coordinate and commence choir practices. Youth leader should circulate a final program. Now this should be able to, so you should be able to find the resolution somewhere in your minutes. So by the time you have a resolution extract, you've extracted it from your minutes. So somewhere in your minutes, you should have something that speaks to that. So the resolution will keep you, it is it will be an easier thing to track, because not everyone that comes to you, you will have to give the entire set of minutes. If it was resolved in a meeting, then I will give you the resolution and tell you this is what was resolved and this is what we are doing. So this is what your resolution should look like from your minutes. And then you can always looking at the when you look at the samples that we've looked at, and then you may be in your own free time run through again, you can easily see, or you've taken you've taken a meeting and you've made a record. You can always reference and see if you've captured the things the right way, you've extracted your reports the right way, or you have been able to extract your resolutions the right way, just for quick reference. So I would, so that is the end. Allow me display a sample of minutes. I hope we are still together. Hello, are we still together?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are. Okay. Allow me display, I don't know. Okay. Can you see my screen that portrays a sample of the minutes?
Not yet. I think you have to stop this one. You stop the PPT and then you will share again the new window, the same way
Oh,
you shared.
okay. I need to learn Zoom. Okay. Okay, can we see now?
Yes.
So this is a sample of how our minutes should look like. So we have the title, we have what particular meeting we are having, first YA society meeting held at that. You have to put the venue, the location, the date, and capture the time accurately. Then you capture the attendance accurately. Like I said, your attendance should correspond accurately with your attendance list, so that at any one point, if this member one, maybe Daniel, is called upon for maybe he had an action and did not do it, and he says, me, I was not in that meeting, I don't know what you're talking about. You refer to your attendance register, and your attendance register should be able to tell that Daniel attended that meeting and actually signed for having attended that meeting. So, like I said, if there are any members that are part of the particular committee and are absent but sent in their apologies, you record that accurately. And if you have a visitor, you also record them as having been in attendance. They are not members, but they are just attending the meeting. And then you capture your agenda accurately. And then you start your minutes in that way. Your minutes should speak properly to your agenda. If my agenda item is the opening prayer, my minute one will be the opening prayer. And then something that maybe I should mention is that try to number your minutes in a way that can be referenced even at a later date. Usually, usually I do the minute number 01 and then refer to the meeting. You see up here we have uh, AY, AY Society Planning Meeting. So I'll say meeting 1 stroke AY, which is referring to the particular meeting or committee, whatever it is you're dealing with. And then I reference the next digit is the meeting number. If AY has held 4 meetings so far, then if AY has held 3 meetings so far, so that means since the year began, then that means this is going to be my meeting, my 4th meeting. This is going to be AY's 4th meeting. So the next number will be the meeting number. So I have minute 1, meaning agenda item 1, minute 1, stroke AY, which is the meeting we are dealing with, stroke the number of the meeting for that particular AY society. So if this is the 4th meeting of AY since 2026 began, then that will be the number 04, then stroke the calendar year, which is 2026. So that keeps changing as you have more meetings and years go by. So if 2027 begins, then you'll start labeling 2027 the meeting number of that particular meeting, so that it is easy to reference. So if you come back and ask, we need a minute for this AY meeting, when was it held, which meeting number was it, now that will be easy to reference. So I said we record that our agenda item corresponds to our meeting numbers, and then you record the discussion. Maybe let's go to an item maybe that may have a discussion. Maybe we look at meeting 4, number 4. So we have meeting number 4, AY stroke meeting number 4, 2026, the choir and program arrangement. So you briefly you briefly record what was talked about on that agenda item. The choir leader presented a proposed practice schedule for the month of April and May. The meeting agreed, or the members agreed, that the choir practices would be held every Wednesday and Friday, 5 p.m. A draft Sabbath program order was also reviewed and adopted with minor adjustments. Now, after that, it is very clear. We know what was presented. We know what was presented, and when the schedule is to begin, then we are going to look at the recommendation or the action. The choir leader should coordinate and commence choir practices by 22nd April 2026. Now, this is what you will capture in your action report and then color code it and then put a status such that at your next meeting or any other time you need to refer to it. The choir leader should be able to give you a status. Did they commence the practices? Did they commence the practice? When did they do it? Are we on track? Are we behind schedule? That will be able to inform you. So we shall also now on agenda item 3 here, planning for Youth Day. Now you see you have a discussion, then you have a recommendation. AY leader should send out an invite to the guest preacher by 25th April 2026. Then you have a resolution. The proposed upcoming Youth Day theme are rooted and built up in Christ, be and hereby is adopted. Now that will be your resolution that you will extract and put in the resolutions, that if someone comes and asks you what was agreed, what theme was agreed, you don't need to give them the entire set of minutes. You will give them the resolution, because you will have extracted the resolution that approved the theme for the day or the theme for the conference. So that is what you will give them for reference. So this is what I just wanted to show us, what a minute template could look like, or how you could take up your minutes. Yes, thank you. Unless you have questions, if you need me to clarify on something. And then maybe before we go, like I had earlier said, as you close your meetings, you'll have your minutes rather. You'll record clearly when the meeting was closed, record clearly when the minutes approval, and then the signature part. For authenticity, definitely no one will take up something if no one will take the minutes as a true record of the meeting if they have not been approved and signed off. Thank you for listening to me. Unless you have questions or you need me to clarify on something.
Thank you so much, Ms. Abias, for the powerful sharing this afternoon. I believe everyone has learned a thing, one or two. It's been really very important, and I believe from now, each member that has been on this call will be able to present meaningful and professional minutes. God bless you. Thank you so much. And one thing I've learned, outside the minute session, it is important to prepare when you're going to present. I am sure many of us would think that Miss Abias is a Seventh-day Adventist, but trust me, she is not. But she has made her research about the church. She knows the departments we have. I believe it's also a lesson to learn that we should prepare, know your audience, and prepare, according to the target audience. Thank you so much, Miss Abias. God bless you. There are two questions that someone has sent in. I will read as she wrote them. That why a member has taken through the minutes of the previous meeting in the next meeting. Is this protocol? Isn't it time wasting? Since minutes taken should have been verified during the meeting and also when shared with the attendees for verification. That is the first question. That is it protocol to take the members through the minutes of the previous meeting. Then the second question is to ensure accuracy of minutes, is it prudent to, pardon me, please. The question says to ensure accuracy of minutes, is it prudent to take members through agreed upon actions or issues to confirm that they are accurate? Those are the questions coming in.
Okay, thank you, Nori. So the first question about taking the members through the minutes at the next meeting. So, like we said, meetings can be lengthy. You can have a lot of discussions, and to ensure accuracy of the minutes, you also need to give the secretary ample time to produce for you a record that is accurate to the discussions that you held. Now, ideally, minutes are confirmed at the next committee meeting. Why? They have a meeting has to approve the previous meeting, because you're not going to get all the members in that particular meeting. Take an example. You have held a meeting today. You've held a meeting today which ran from 9 to maybe 3 p.m. Now, by 3 p.m., a lot of members are exhausted. uh, a lot of members are exhausted. They have competing responsibilities to attend to. Now, you're not going to tell members to stay behind for the next 2 hours so that you run through and the secretary is given time to actually proofread the record. Now, that is where the secretary will actually make mistakes and uh, give you a record that is not accurate, because he or she is rushing through to produce a minute record, but it is not giving you the full scope of the minute. So it is important to take time and and uh, and ensure accuracy. Yes, during that meeting, she will have been taking notes. She will have been producing the first draft. You cannot give your members an initial raw draft. You can't, because that will be disorganized, that will not be accurate, and you will have a lot of gaps in that record, that you will have to sit back, give yourself ample time, and produce a record, fill in the gaps where need be, ask for clarification, and even you will have to need to send to the chairperson to confirm that minute record before you circulate to the rest of the members, because who is the owner of the meeting? The chairperson is the chair of the meeting. The chairperson is the person leading the meeting. The chairperson is the person making sure the meeting has structure, the meeting has direction. So if you're going to have to do that in that particular time, you're not going to do the best for those members, and they will have a lot. One, they may have a lot of gaps, and two, they may also not give it time because they need to attend to other things. So you will end up having people agreeing to just pass the record as is, but it is not the accurate record because they have things to attend to. They are rushing through. People have to travel. Others have maybe many other things to attend to. So ideally, it is that is practice, that you take the minutes, you take the members through at the next committee meeting. But by the time you take the members through at the next meeting, you have circulated these minutes, the chairperson has confirmed, you have circulated to the members have reviewed, so that by the time you're coming to that meeting, it is for confirmation, for them to confirm if you took in consideration their comments or inputs when you circulated the draft. So that is why it is done that way, so that you have time to come up with a clear, accurate record, not to rush through and give a half-baked record that may not be beneficial for the organization, the ministry, or any other person. So if you're looking at growth, you have to take time and do the best that you can so that you produce what is the best for your members or your organization. And then the second question was about accuracy of the minutes. Did I get it correct? Noreen, could you kindly repeat the second question?
It
I
says,
think I missed it.
to ensure accuracy of minutes, is it prudent to take members through agreed upon actions or issues to confirm that they are accurate?
Okay, that is okay. Remember, when you're taking the minutes, you are asking for confirmation at every other part of the at every other agenda item. When you're taking down the minutes where you're not sure, you're asking for confirmation. Has it been agreed? It has been agreed that so and so should do this, and they will confirm to you. So that is the record you're taking note of. And when you finally develop the comprehensive action report, now when you're taking the members through the minutes at the next one, you're also reporting about the action report. And once you get out of that meeting, when you have that action report, you are going to circulate that action report to the responsible parties to action those items. So if person A, B, and C are the ones responsible for actioning the items that come up in the action report, after the meeting, that day or two, or that day or the following day, you're supposed to circulate that action report to those members. And when you circulate that action report, actually, those members will actually tell you, on this item, I remember this being discussed. Now you will reconcile your record with what the member is saying. And if that is not accurate, please don't take up everything that someone says. Me, I remember this was not agreed on. If one person is saying was not agreed on and they are the action party for that item, but every other person remembers that this was discussed and agreed on, that could be maybe they are hesitant to take up the action, but it was what the meeting agreed on. Remember, your minutes are a shared memory. So if 10 members remember that discussion and one member who is responsible for that action is saying they don't remember it being discussed, then you should not take out that action. Let that member be responsible for that action. So right after the meeting, you circulate your action report for the people to action, and at the next meeting, when you are taking the members through for confirmation and approval and signature, then you are also reporting on the status of the actions that were extracted from that meeting, which is your action report. So you have your status updates, what was done, what was not done, what is pending, and where something was not done, you should clearly indicate why it was not done, the progress so far. If there are any mishaps, ask for help where need be. If the person responsible is having challenges in executing that action, the members will guide on how best they can have it closed.
Hey, thank you so much. I hope the person who raised the question has got the
My
response
hand,
very
my
well.
hand
I
is
have
up.
people raising up hands. I'll first give a chance to Ruth Nakamia. Please air out your question to the
Thank you
presenter.
so much. I had already typed my question, but then let me just ask now that I'm given the opportunity. So I have been to meetings, and the meetings were meant to be physical, but then there are members that decide to attend the meeting through phone calls. So my question is, how do we record those members? Are they present? Do we indicate that they're present and on call? Because for proper record keeping, maybe these people are going to probably report on a given matter. We need to put that on record. So how do we go about it? Then also, my other question is about sharing the minutes. Sometimes as a secretary, you're asked to share the minutes on, let's say, the WhatsApp group, such that even those who are not able to attend are in position to review what was discussed. So where does that leave us when it comes to confidentiality? Because now if you've shared these minutes with everyone on the forum, each and every person has access to them and they can share them with any other person. How do we go about it as secretaries then?
Thank you. About the meeting, about the people who decide to attend meetings by phone call, it's instead of phone call, it's encouraged to have online, maybe an online link such as this, because this keeps a record of attendance, right? So that you will record these people in your minutes, you will record these people as in attendance. They will be present for the meeting, even if they are using an online application. They've attended that meeting. But in your register, because they are not going to be physical to sign your attendance register, you will write their name and note that they attended virtually. Now you will for accountability purposes, you may also go ahead and print out the attendance register, the virtual attendance register, because these online platforms, I know Teams gives, I'm not conversant with Zoom, but I think it also gives the attendance register. So you can download it and print it out for any future reference, but you will have to record them on your attendance register as having attended that meeting and indicate that they were virtual or online. But I would encourage creating an online link instead of a phone call. And then about sharing the minutes on WhatsApp, on our WhatsApp group now, I would ask, which is that WhatsApp group only limited to the people in that, the people responsible to be in that meeting, or is that WhatsApp group a general group? If that WhatsApp group is a general group, then that will be a challenge, because you are putting out the information to every other person, even those that are not concerned. But secondly, I would encourage sharing these minutes by email, or if you have, yes, by email, to only the people that are supposed to access those minutes, because then you know who to hold accountable for any information leakage. I think those were the two questions I got.
I hope Ruth, you've been answered. We have Rebecca. Becky, please use this.
Thank you so much, Abby, for the insightful seminar on minute taking. I really appreciate the knowledge shared on maintaining accuracy and information and then professionalism. I would like to ask, if a senior person asks to change or omit something important from the minutes and I'm not okay with that, how should I respond professionally? And then the next is, who is ultimately responsible for ensuring minutes are correct? Is it the minute taker or the chair? I would like to just give me a reminder. I think I skipped that. Otherwise, I'm so much humbled for your presentation.
Thank you, Becky. Your question about if a senior person asks you to omit something from the minutes and you're not comfortable with that. First of all, no one should ask you to omit something if it was a discussion in that meeting. So if a senior person comes to you and asks you to omit something in those minutes, please don't. They should not ask you to omit something, because it was your responsibility. As a secretary, you are the one responsible for taking up for making the record of that meeting. And after that, you're going to report to your chair. your chair of that meeting. So it's between you, the secretary, and the chair of the meeting. And when you're signing, you'll notice that you will sign that record together with your chairperson. So no one should ask you to omit a discussion from the minutes which was actually had in that meeting. You should not do that. If they need to take it up, then it should be revisited at the next meeting. It should be brought up officially in a meeting, maybe at the next committee or whatever thing you're dealing with. It should be brought, let that person bring that particular item up for discussion at the next meeting, and then the members of the meeting will take a formal decision which you will record. If they are to retract their decision from the previous meeting, they will retract it and you'll take a record of that in that particular meeting. But don't allow to remove something just because it's sensitive and capturing a particular individual. No, you shouldn't do that. And then the other question was about who is responsible for ensuring an accurate record. Primarily, it is your responsibility as the secretary to make sure that the record is accurate. But remember, the entire responsibility is shared between yourself and the chairperson. That is why you will sign the minutes, you will submit the minutes to the chairperson, and the chairperson will sign in approval. When the chairperson signs in approval, that means the chairperson is actually mandated or is holding authority for all the other members. So you will have to give an accurate record from what you have recorded. And if the chair tells you this was decided this way, edit that, and then you will circulate to the rest of the members. When the rest of the members have no other comments, that will be the accurate record. So it's a shared responsibility between yourself and the chair. Remember, you report to your chair. That is why the approval is signed off by the chair, but you are the person who submits the record.
Thank you. Our time is fast spent, but there is a question in the chat. Someone asks, says, do we need to use different minute formats for different types of meetings? Because you mentioned selecting a format when preparing for meeting.
Now, there is no hard and fast rule to what minute type what minute template you can use. It is really about what works for you, what keeps your record accurate, and what speaks to your organization or your writing style. So if you've come up with a template or a style that keeps your record accurate, speaks to your organization, it speaks to your activity or your ministry. So if that template works for you and it is easily traceable at any point in time in the future for anyone that wants to make reference to it, that is what you should use. There is no hard and fast rule as long as your minutes are clear, accurate, and they have accountability. They reflect accountability, transparency, and can be referred to at any point in time, then that's what you should use.
I have a question. Thank you, Abias, for that wonderful presentation. I have learned a lot. And my question is on the agenda item. I have seen in a couple of meetings whereby review of minutes occurs at the end. So what's your take on that? And people who do it in the beginning, because I get confused. Please clarify on that.
Thank you, Professor. So the thing about reviewing your minutes at the end or at the start is really a personal choice. Personally, I would think that reviewing them at the start will be better, because at the time you reach the end, you're tired, you're exhausted, people just want to leave and they may not read the entire record. But maybe taking into account that the members may have reviewed the minutes before they came to the meeting, it might be easier. But people who review them at the start of the meeting will be much more productive because people are still fresh, they are awake, and their minds are fresh, and they can record that no, we did not discuss this. No, we did not discuss this. We discussed this, but we discussed it in a different way from what has been captured. Excuse me. We discussed it in a different way from what has been captured. So at the start, excuse me. So reviewing the minutes at the start for me would be more appropriate because it comes with when the people are fresh from, they've not been pumped with all these other agenda items that they have to go through, so such that by the time they reach the end they are tired, so you're just looking at the minutes and saying yes, we approve, we go. So at the start would be more ideal because people want to remember if this is what we had, if this is what was discussed, if this is what was decided. But it is a personal choice or a personal, it's a preference for people. People might want to start with the most pressing needs for the day. They need to do these other things and then come to minutes later, maybe because they read them. But at the start would be more ideal so that people are fresh before they get their minds clogged with all this other information that people might have to feed them throughout the day.
All right. I believe you've been answered very well. We have a registration link in the chat. Please ensure that you've registered attendance so that you're able to receive your certificate. Yes, please. Thank you so much once again, Miss Abias, for sharing with us this skill. I believe people have met their expectation. Etro, have you met your expectation? Okay, there is silence, but I want to believe she has met her expectations and the rest of us. I request Elder Samson to give us the closing remark because Elder Shema is driving, and a closing prayer so that we can end this session.
Thank you very
Wow.
much, Younger Noreen, for organizing this training. I hope all of us have been blessed. And I also like to thank all of you who have attended. We picked around 54 participants online and from different organizations. And according to my AI, it's telling me that 25 organizations logged in, those including churches and even some NGOs. So, Council Abias, you've done a pro bono job that can be put on your CV. We thank you very much for giving us this opportunity for reaching out to 25 organizations in total. And for those of you who don't know Abias, she's a very hardworking lady. I've worked with her, and so she's very particular. And we thank you very much for doing your research and knowing about the Adventist Church. Abias is the Catholic, but I was shocked. She was using our terms, elder, Adventist youth, and I was like, wow, that's quite captivating, and it was encouraging for us to read wide and always research. And we thank you so much that you've come to us from Uganda Airlines, and I like the fact that you kept time, like Uganda Airlines keeps time. She was in the room 10 minutes before. We were two in the room. So basically, that's something we can learn, yeah? We can learn as youth to keep time, be there 10 minutes earlier so that you're the first. So it's very massive. Thank you very much for setting for us an example, and we have been blessed. And those of you who are online, the presentation is on YouTube. You will search Emmaus Adventist Church. You will find the presentation there. And you can go over and over again, train your church clerks, secretaries, and all that, department secretaries, committee secretaries using the presentation. We'll be able to share. And those of you who have registered online on that link that has been put in the chat, we'll be able to send you a certificate of attendance. You never know what it can do to you in terms of getting jobs. So that being said, I want to end here. We have gone 9 minutes past the top of the hour when we are supposed to end, but let's humble ourselves and we pray. And before that, I want to wish all of you a happy Labor Day and ensure that you get the best out of everything you're doing. And those of you who can go to Kololo, there is a National Science Week. So please pass there and you see what has been done. Let's humble ourselves and we pray. Our Father in heaven, we thank you that you've been kind to us. We thank you for your providence. And we thank you that we have learned today how to keep records of our organizations, including the church. Thank you for the intelligence that you have given to Abias and that what she has shared with us. We pray that what we have learned and those who will learn in the future through online, we pray that, Lord, you bless them. Father, thank you that we live in a world that is marred and blighted by sin, but Lord, we can be able to meet. And even when we meet, we should not lose sight of you as God who gives knowledge, wisdom, understanding. We pray that, Lord, that you bless all the people, bless those who are preparing for the Sabbath tomorrow, and bless all of us in our families, in our endeavors, in our jobs. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for having me and have a lovely day.
Have
Thank
a
you very much.
blessed one too.
Have a lovely day too.